Yep,
Here it
it's
is.
coming up.
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay.
Okay. So, once again, welcome everybody. Welcome to SongNet. This is Jimmy here, and I've been doing this for a while. And because I've been doing this for a while, I decided that today would be a good day to be here for you guys, answer questions and stuff. Now, I know that there's going to be a lot of people that will probably wind up watching this on YouTube after the fact, watching the archive. And that's a problem because, they're going to watch the archive, but they won't be asking those questions and getting the answers they want. But you guys are here and you guys are welcome to ask me questions and, talk about certain things in this industry because so many things have changed. I've just been blown away by what I've been seeing out there. Uh, a lot of you guys have or know about stuff like Kulak's Woodshed and how important videos have become for everybody ever since the pandemic. One of the things that I've seen is that I've even experienced for myself is that there's a lack of people that are coming to a lot of live shows and live events. Yet uh, the numbers have been going way up if you've got any kind of a video out there, and that changes your presence completely. I mean, you've got good video up there, then that changes things even more. Uh, Another thing that I've found too is that if you keep your stuff current, that really helps a lot. Uh, for example, I've seen where I've got a little over, it's close to 300 videos on my YouTube page now, and most of those are original songs. So every time I put a new original song up, that usually gets between 40 and 50 hits every time, like in just a couple of days. But what's been happening is that not only does that one get 40, 50 hits, but all of my other archives too. The 250 something that are already out there, they'll also get one or two hits because they've come to see the new one and they don't know about the old ones, or they come over and remember the old ones, so they want to go back and revisit that. So my numbers don't look really great when you look at individual videos, but when you look at how many of those videos that I've gotten have gotten different views, it's been pretty good. It does come up pretty high, and even though I don't have a lot of followers there, interestingly enough, I do have a lot of people that are watching on my Facebook page. Yeah, I know Facebook is for old people, but hey, it's I'm an old people, and my music is something that kind of caters to some of those older people. So it works out all the way around. It's important to understand your demographic and who's watching what you do and where you're at. One of the other things that I've noticed too is that people that put stuff out there that's not about the music, or not just about the music, always have a lot more engagement on social media and everywhere else, and they come to see it. This Saturday, I'll be doing a show with Catherine Beck, who's here quite a bit, and John Bossman, who hasn't come here, but he's been pretty active on the circuit lately. Between the three of us, we've gathered up a pretty sizable following also. John and Catherine both have CDs out that are fairly new. My CD is so old I don't even bother to bring them anymore. Yet, when people come, they're not coming just for the music. They want to hear the life stories, especially, because again, uh, a lot of our fans are also our age, and they want to hear what's going on in our lives at this point in time because you got grandkids and all that going on, and uh, we're not as nimble as we used to be, shall we say. So things are different, and we're seeing how that affects each one of us. Also, the kind of music that we write has been changing too, because a lot of the stuff that we write, when you write from experience, you write from your heart, you write from things that you know. Um, and unfortunately, one of the things that I've been seeing or experiencing is losing friends. Uh, not because they hate me, but because they be dead. So, when that happens, well, that changes a lot of things too. And the music that you write about can help move that along, encourage people, and help them understand that it's not the end, and that things can continue. So the music that we write, should come from a place that speaks to the people that follow you, I think. And I see the numbers backing that up, and not just the numbers, but also the people that I talk to. The numbers are not as big as like Taylor Swift, obviously. Yet when I do meet a fan or I see a fan, not a musician, but somebody else that has come just to hear and hear the music and see me, uh, they always talk about the stories. They talk about, some of you know that I do that guitar story every Saturday, and that's been a really good thing. So things are different, and I'm excited about those changes and the stuff that goes on. I'm still trying to get a hold of Tess Taylor from NARAP. Yeah, as you know, she was one of the people that used to come and speak for us and with us all the time. And she kind of dropped off the face of the earth for a couple of years. And I was wondering what's going on. But the NARP site suddenly, like after I called her like 7 or 8 times, now the NARP site is back up and looking good and getting a lot of updates. So that's a good thing. And hopefully I'll be able to see her and talk to her about NARP and all that too, because that's another organization that's been around for a while. Songs Alive, a lot of you guys are both also members of that. And you've seen Songs Alive has changed quite a bit too. Jilly doesn't seem to be as active in her own organization anymore. Jilly is trying to be more of a entrepreneur success coach kind of a thing. So that's very different. Um, and so Songs Alive is now being run by her staff pretty much, which works out okay. Um, because of the things that are going on online, we're able to have a lot more people uh, from both coasts and beyond. We've got friends. Hopefully, we'll have some people coming in from Japan today because Kenji mentioned that he's got people that want to come and see what we do here. So we'll see what happens later on in the evening. Steve, you're going to be watching out for that, right? As people will log in. Okay. So those are some of the things that I've seen, and there's a lot more too. I know you guys have seen a lot of stuff as well. Let's see. I just got another call here. So Ed, how you doing, man? I heard you talking to Steve a little bit about some of the treatments you're going through and all that. You can unmute.
That's all in the past. Oh, it's been about 14 years now.
Wow,
So you can say that I'm pretty well much a survivor.
that's good. And even for the way that you do music, you've been using what, Band in the Box or?
Yeah, I deal with that. Sometimes you hear stuff that's all me, but and then there's so much stuff out there anymore that I've got probably $10,000 worth of programs, and it's just interesting. I just ran into an AI program. It's online because I guess it's so large you probably couldn't put it on a computer. But all you do is you send the melody and it will take the MIDI and put a voice to it. And it can be any voice you want.
What's the name of that software?
Um, Let me think. Oh, it escapes me right now. But it's on the internet. It's AI something. But and I was listening to it and it's actually pretty good.
So you feed it lyrics and a melody, and then it creates a whole track for you. Is that kind of how it works?
Basically, yes. You provide the lyrics and the melody, and then it takes it and creates the vocal. And it can be female, male, just about anybody you want.
Are there ways of editing that so you can like go behind the groove or ahead of the groove or?
I haven't actually experimented with it yet, but from what they say, you can do almost anything you want.
Hmm. Well, that sounds like a good thing. Steve, you're still muted.
I'm actually curious about doing a music video with AI. In other words, as we all know, doing a real music video, not a Kulaks like video, but one with, where you've got a lot of video behind it, being very expressive of what's going on in the song, different backgrounds, different environments, etc. But now with AI, you might be able to actually create those backgrounds with different pieces of your song. And I haven't played with that yet, but I'm curious to try to do that in the near future sometime, because that's always been a bit of a holdback is doing a good video. That I mean, there's a live video, of course, but then there's videos that express the song itself and some of the lyrics and that sort of thing, or the emotion of the song, and that's pretty much now within reach, as long as you don't, you know, put a celebrity up there or something. In fact, you could use your own pictures basically and put yourself in it, or people as opposed to somebody who's a known person. But anyway, that I think will be a very interesting, within the next year thing to do.
One of the things that I've seen that's kind of a pushback on that, though, which is interesting, is that fewer people are posting that kind of a video where there's a lot of graphics and things that don't really relate to it. And the people that are getting the most views and the most hits are the people that are utilizing collaboration. In other words, uh, say, for example, I put you into one of my videos.
Uh-huh.
Well, now all of a sudden, I've got your fan base and my fan base watching for that video. And
I
that's
see.
twice the number of people. And then if I bring in some of my other friends, we have like a whole party thing going on. Well, all the people that are at that party, they want to see themselves. So once again, that
Yeah.
quadruples
Right.
or even further. And that's what's exciting about knowing that yeah, AI can do a lot of things, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can automate and have like graphics and everything else that are
Mm-hmm.
virtual. Yet it still comes down to real people want to see each other and they want to see real people.
Oh, I agree with you. Yeah. In fact,
Yeah,
it's always been more fun to watch a band or a group of people as opposed to, let's say, a single vocalist.
yeah,
Um, I mean, a single vocalist, of course, is Taylor Swift. A great example. People certainly paying to see her. So, but a group is just more kind of interesting. It's more complex, you know, to watch. So, and it is a
yeah, and,
video world out there. That's for sure.
yeah, and not just a group, but also when you have a show going on. That's one of the
Yeah.
big things.
Yeah.
I see a lot of my friends say, "Hey, how come nobody comes to see my shows?" This is well because you have no show.
That's right. There's no theater. Yeah.
Yeah,
People have
when
gotten
you
spoiled
come
on theater. Yeah.
exactly. Bob Stain used to say, a bunch of shoegazers, which is true.
Yeah.
You get a lot of these guys out there that are very talented. And they're writing and performing great music, and they got great vocals and great talent. But all they do is watch their shoes all night long, and that's not good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Well, I
People
just
like
bought a
action.
program for doing like photography stuff with AI, but it bogs down the computer so much that you're very limited on what you can actually do.
Okay. I
you
don't
And
almost
know.
have to
my
dedicate.
computer, my computer is the one of the fastest you could have and the largest memory and everything else.
Yeah,
Jimmy, I have a question for you about YouTube. You may or may not know the answer to this one. My experience on YouTube, um, I had a negative experience where I think I had checked a box that was wrong at CD Baby or something that distributes, your songs out to different places. and I actually had a song that somebody was interested in, but somehow YouTube wound up having the rights to it, or some of the rights to it. And so I fixed that and said, okay, I don't want it to be that way, and unchecked whatever box it was, etc. This is quite a while back. And the problem with that is that if you want to control everything and have it yourself, then you have to have like 4,000 hours of viewing time before you can monetize YouTube. I'm not. Have you seen that as well, or have you gone through that, or have you? Do you know any of the detail of that?
That's one of the reasons why I don't monetize YouTube, because
Okay.
there's a lot of issues with monetization on YouTube. The other one, of course, is covers. If you've monetized your YouTube channel and you put covers up there, stuff starts getting your copyright strikes, or you get things taken down almost immediately.
I see. Okay.
And it depends on who the artist is, of course, but uh, it gets really crazy and complex.
Okay.
But that also means that you find out who those artists are that you can't cover, and it's a problem because sometimes people want to hear you cover a particular song, like Eagles, especially.
Yeah. Right.
You do an Eagles cover, and it gets shot down like within seconds.
Yeah.
Even a live stream, I've seen live streams get shut down because of an Eagles cover. It's really
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm creeping up on my 4,000 hours. I'm about 3,200. So, but that has to be within the last 365 days as well.
Yeah.
So you
And the
have
other
to
thing to
keep.
look at too is how your digital aggregators are. CD Baby, for example, is a digital aggregator.
Yeah.
So what that means is they collect everything and it puts you all out there. So if you go to YouTube, for example, and you type in your name and then topic,
Yeah.
then you're going to see
Right.
all the stuff that you put out there that was recorded and released through CD Baby.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's because they've posted all that for you. The downside is that they're the aggregator. So that means that if there is any revenue that's being generated, they're the ones that have to collect it and it goes straight to them, not to you.
Yeah. Okay. Because I went through that as well, and um, because I wanted to be able to control the comments, and so I got that out of the loop as well. And so now any comment that comes in, I screen all the comments first. You know, so that was and again, if you don't do what I did, I'm not sure if that gets you to monetization any faster or not. I'm not sure about that.
No, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. The only
Okay.
difference that really makes the monetization happen is, how many views you got, how many subscriptions you got mostly.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
views are one thing, but subscriptions are the most important thing.
Yeah. No.
So,
Yeah. It's 1,000 subscript or 1,000 users or subscriptions and 4,000 hours,
yeah,
something like that. Yeah. Yeah. So.
yeah.
My
So,
granddaughter's boyfriend was he did one of these games on the internet. He was updating everybody on it. And by the time he was 18, he was already a millionaire several times over.
I've heard stories like that. Yes.
yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, one of my friends is the main guy behind a little game called Grand Theft Auto.
A little game. Yeah.
I think he's got like 5 homes now all around the world, and he finally retired at the age of 58. So
Yep.
yeah, he said, I've got more money than I could ever spend in a lifetime. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah, it's incredible. My accountant and I looked at that and said, yeah, even if you give away money,
Well,
you're
that's
still
what
gonna
people
generate.
wind up doing. Yeah.
Yeah, so that works out really well. But then now that becomes a tax write-off, and so that means you're actually winding up spending less money overall for other things. And it's like, wow, that's pretty strange. But that's what happens when you've got over $500 million in the bank, I guess. So it's just crazy.
Yeah. We should have such problems, right, Jimmy?
Well, they still are problems though,
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
pictures. So
I hear you.
Well, if you made a lug nut and sold it to everybody in the world, you'd only need to sell one to every car. You'd still be a millionaire.
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to generate revenue. But in spite of all that, once you got that revenue in your hand, where does it go from there, and how does it really work? And then how long do you have to actually spend it? That's the other thing too. Nobody really knows. You could get hit by lightning or hit by a car tomorrow or something.
Jimmy, I'm not sure if you know the numbers on this. Spotify versus YouTube in terms of paying royalties. Now, I've heard anecdotally that actually Spotify pays better than YouTube. Would you concur with that, or do you know?
Depends on how you're doing your revenue sharing, because Spotify does not have the kind of AdSense thing that YouTube has.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got premium advertisers coming in, you're going to be making a lot more money on YouTube.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Like if you've got, Joe's used car lot, well, they're obviously not going to make a lot of money. But if you've got Nike as one of your advertisers, yeah, you're going to be making some money.
I see. So what you're saying is that because Spotify is subscription based, the royalties you're going to get really have nothing to do with the advertising on their site, if any.
Right.
In other words, it's just straight royalties, straight plays. Whereas
That's why,
YouTube, you've got the plays plus the ad sharing.
right.
I see. Okay. Okay.
And then, of course, now with Spotify, if you've got less than 1,000 streams, then you don't get paid anything. So
Okay.
that's another thing too. They save off. And there's several other ones where if you've got less than 1,000 streams, they're actually taking you off of their service.
Okay.
I forgot which
Mm.
ones they were. They're like two or three that recently did that. And after the first of this month, a lot of people's music is no longer available on those streaming services.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why they chose July. I guess because it's the middle of the year, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened.
I
So
see.
I know of several different streaming services that, which is why it's so important to make sure that you do have a good website that people can find your music on, buy your music on, make things
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Yeah.
Or at least have something on YouTube that, even if it's not generating revenue, it shows who you are, what you do, so
Mm-hmm.
that you're able to put that out there
Yeah.
and hopefully direct people to your website, or people that want to see your website because of what you've done on YouTube and other socials. They want to
Mm-hmm.
find out more, so they go to your website. They don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if your website is set up correctly and you're able to generate revenue from that, then you'll be doing quite well. So that's kind of the whole thing, having your mailing list set up so that you're doing direct email to your fans and friends. That's another very
Mm-hmm.
important part of it, because, again, there's a lot of people that just try to put an event out on Facebook or something, or,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't quite work as well as you would expect, even if you spend the money to do that,
Mm-hmm.
because there's always filters going on. And, even if it goes out everywhere, it's, yeah, we just sent this out to, 500 people. Well, that's fine. Out of those 500, 450 of them have filters on there, so they're still not going to see it,
Yeah. I
you know.
see. Yeah.
So it's important to understand how all this stuff works and where to put it, so that
Right.
you can generate not just revenue directly, but so that you can engage your fans, and that's where the revenue comes from, is your fan base that wants to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, another friend of mine had a really severe car accident not too long ago, and she really wasn't sure about the power of social media, but she thought, well, I've got 8,000 friends on my socials, so maybe some of them will help out if I put up a GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she did, and she wound up making, or getting, about 5 times the amount that she asked for, because
Wow.
she's has that kind of engagement with the people that are on her socials. So that made all the difference in the world.
Hmm. Very interesting.
I'm
Okay.
not sure if you guys already have everyone's channels, but I'd love to like visit and
Pop it in the
subscribe.
chat.
Yeah, I'd love
Yeah.
to visit everyone's pages.
Yeah, well, you just look for my name and I'm up there. You know, I've got a whole lot of songs out there. And are you under Ann Kim or Violet Whimsy?
I'm under Violet Whimsy.
Okay.
So yeah, I think they make it easy, the youtube.com and then / right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's easy.
That'd be the same thing as Purple Whimsy?
Exactly. Violet, not violent, but yeah, it's been confused before.
Well, I'm sure there is a Violet Whimsy out there somewhere. Have you actually looked to see?
Well, I checked that it was very original when I first created it, but who knows by now, right?
Well, I would think Violent Whimsy would be something either very political or very punk.
Right, I was going for the blend.
Yeah.
My husband's here as well.
Oh, hello, husband.
His name is Josh, but
Hey,
he's
Josh.
on some of my songs too. So
Cool.
yeah.
And he likes Nirvana.
Yeah. Yeah, we both like Nirvana. We have a lot of influence from rock.
Yeah, Dave Grohl's a cool guy. He's been around a lot, you know, in the community. So, in fact, I was trying to get him as a guest speaker. Still might. Well, we don't know.
Wow, that'd be great.
So that's one of the problems. Like when we have guest speakers that are fairly well known, like this happened back when we were meeting at the Coffee Gallery up in Altadena. I had a very good friend who was the A&R main A&R guy at Sony, a good friend of mine. And so I said, "Hey, Dave, why don't you come on out and speak at SongNet?" Okay, well, word got out that the A&R guy from Sony will be our guest speaker. Were you there, Steve, that time when we had that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, there's a fire marshal came and they threw us. It was really, really bad. But we had 200 people in a space made for 50. And it was really bad. The fire marshal came, told people to get out. It was, you know, and then when Dave finally took the stage, the very first thing out of his mouth is, "Okay, yeah, I'm the A&R guy for Sony, and let me tell you right now, I can't sign you, I can't help you, and you're wasting your time here if you think that you're going to get a deal just because you meet me." And right when he said that, yeah, a good fourth of the people just turned around and left. Yeah. But I thought that was pretty hilarious. But the rest that stayed, in fact, the fire marshal came back again the second time and says, "Really, you guys got to get spread out." But they all got his card, and they all, most of them actually did follow up. And shortly after that, just like everything else in this industry, he left Sony. Because, you know, that's the whole thing with this industry and with any industry, really, but primarily in the entertainment industry and the music industry. People are constantly shifting around and moving. He went to what was it? One of the other major label. I can't remember the name of it right now, but yeah, Universal Music Group. And then after Universal Music Group, then he wound up with a small label. And I think now he's back with Universal or something. But yeah, it's one of those things where he just keeps hopping around different places. And he doesn't even want to let people know that he's an executive in the music industry anymore because he's tired of people coming up to him just randomly, you know, throwing him a CD or stuffing a piece of paper with a link in his pocket. I mean, it's that bad, you know. People are desperate to be heard, and people are desperate to try to find success somehow in this industry. But the reality is that the industry success doesn't necessarily translate the way that you would expect into revenue and things. And success means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And the industry has expanded so much because of the internet that there is room for everybody. The downside is that even though there's room for everybody, everybody can be heard, but not everybody's going to be making money directly from what they do with their music. You know, when people begin to realize that music itself is not necessarily a commodity, but rather a vehicle for a lot of things and for a lot of artists, then things change because then you realize that, well, yeah, if it's more of a vehicle, then nobody pays for the ride, but they should be able to pay for whatever's at the end of the ride. And that's where you start realizing, oh, yeah, that makes more sense now because the music introduces you to your fans. And when you get introduced to your fans, then they want to follow you. And because they want to follow you, they want to help you out. They want to buy lunch, right? So that's the whole thing's about. And when you start understanding how that kind of support works, it's not going to generate millions and millions of dollars, but it will definitely generate a strong fan base that can support you when things are getting rough, like my friend had, and also will help get your music out there to people that really need to hear it and need to be uplifted and encouraged or whatever, feeling something because of what you do. So that's what it's about, at least from my perspective and what I've been seeing in this industry.
It's just like when you hear a song. How many times have you heard a song and you immediately know right off the bat that's going to be a hit?
Unless the artist is an asshole. That happens so often. There's when I had my guitar shop in Hollywood, uh, I had quite a few artists that were really, really great artists. They were assholes. Uh, One guy in particular, he has a following. He still has a following, but he was the biggest jerk I'd ever met in my life. And I could not believe that this guy was even still alive because he was so bad. I was expecting somebody to come to the door of the shop and say, dude, fuck you, and just kick his butt because he was just that bad. He came into my shop and first thing he does is throw an insult. He looks around and he sees all the custom built guitars we had built. And he goes, so you got any fucking real guitars in here? It's like, well, excuse me. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And we really got back at him later on because we built a guitar for one of his friends. And he loved that guitar so much. He said, okay, how much you want for it? My friend said, no, it's not for sale. It's mine. He said, no, how much you want for it? He wound up trading like 5 Fender Stratocasters for my friend's custom built Strat that we built for him. Put it on his album cover and everything else, not ever realizing that it was not a real Fender. it was so funny. We built the guitar and my friend put a Fender sticker on it, even though it's not a Fender. But it was such an accurate clone of a vintage Fender. It felt good, sounded great. And to this day, the guy doesn't know that it wasn't actually a real Fender that he traded off about $6,000 worth of instruments for.
Whoa. I want to ask you what the actual cost was.
Well, I mean, it cost us a little bit, but we sold it to my friend for under 1,000.
Yeah.
And because he came into the shop and he was a little bit embarrassed. He said, Jimmy, what? I got all these Strats. Oh, that's great. No, I mean, I traded away the one that you built for me. Oh, really? And so how much you get for it? Well, I got all these Fender Strats, from Fender. Okay. Then I thought about it for a minute. Says 3 of these are the same signature model. I know where you traded it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even that signature model, because it had that guy's name on it, nobody wanted it because he's such a jerk. It was incredibly bad.
Apparently, he never looked for the serial number.
No, we had a serial number on it, like a vintage one. The vintage Fender Strats have the serial number stamped into the neck plate. And so we did a serial number that's very similar to a vintage serial number. So,
Jimmy, what is the most crucial part of a good guitar since you build them?
that you love it. Because there's so many variables and some people prefer more of a great feel, other people prefer more of a great sound. Of course, everybody wants a good balance of everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's why this new thing that I just got, I'm in love with it, and I didn't even build it. Uh, the stuff that's coming out of China now is just so phenomenal. And this guitar has probably some of the best electric sounds and some of the best acoustic sounds I've ever heard in a single guitar.
Wow.
So you'll see it on was it next? Yeah, next, not this coming Wednesday, but the following Showcase Wednesday. I'll bring it.
So how much would you have to pay for such a guitar?
$300,
Okay. Whew.
and it compares favorably to the Taylor at 3,000. Yeah, and I know because I had a $3,000 Taylor, and it was a piece of
That's
crap.
saying something.
Yeah,
That's too bad.
Is it acoustic or electric?
both. It looks like a Taylor T5, so it's a thin line. It looks like a thin line hollow body, except it's about half the weight of a T5, and it's got regular standard size humbucking pickups in there, so you can put anything you want in it to get more of the electric sound you want. And the top is completely floated, so it has a lot of resonance unto itself, but not a lot of volume because it's a thin line. So that's why I'm also going to put one of my pickups into the acoustic side of it and have it as a separate output, so I can use it in stereo and acoustically that way. Even though it has a great piezo pickup in it for the acoustic side. So,
Do you make your own pickups?
oh yeah, I've been doing that for years.
Hmm.
The pickups that I make are based on a large diaphragm piezo that goes on the soundboard, not under the saddle. So it gets the sound of the entire instrument rather than just the sound of the strings over the saddle. And that's a very important difference because uh, there's been some guitars like those stupid cardboard Martins. I hate those. But those cardboard Martins, they suck right out of the box, no matter what you do with them. And when I put one of my pickups in it, it sucks even worse because it sounds like the sucky Martin sound. It's like, yeah, unfortunately. Whereas if I put one of my pickups in a good sounding Martin, like a real D28 or D18, it sounds great. It sounds exactly like the guitar because it's part of the soundboard. So
What's your guitar shop?
I used to own a place called Performance Guitar out in Hollywood. And we were right across the street from Capitol Records back in those days.
Okay.
Then my partner was a real jerk, so he ripped me off for about 10 grand, and I had to leave him. So I went freelance for a while, and then another company picked me up and wanted me to work for them. So I opened LA Guitar Works right next to Norman's Rare Guitars out in the valley. And same thing, since we already had a lot of high-end clients and stuff. Like Tom Petty was one of our regular guys coming through all the time. We built guitars for them, and we did a lot of custom modifications and stuff for a lot of people there. But it got to the point where I wanted to get married. So yeah, exactly. A guitar shop can barely support one person, let alone a married person. So I left that part of me. Gosh, it's been a long time now, almost 35 years ago, and wound up working for Tascam in the recording industry. And because I was kind of involved with the music industry already from the guitar shop, then by being like a product specialist, some of my old clients actually found me at Tascam, and they were building home studios and everything else. So they contacted me to help them out and make things happen for them. And so I was there for 25 years working, as a product specialist and support. And then got downsized out and decided it was time to retire. So that's where I've been at. But retirement doesn't happen. If you're in this industry, you're in this industry. It keeps coming back. So shortly after, actually, I've had SongNet all along during this time for the last 25 years. And people have been commenting on that. And I've been helping with A&R and all kinds of different things. Producing, I've produced several albums for people, and one of the last albums that I produced with one of my good friends was really good. It got 10 out of 10 on the Music Connection magazine for that year, which was the only 10 out of 10 for the review. And Kenji can talk about that because we partnered on that one. But then other people in this industry, especially the guitar side, they knew that I knew recording, I knew the guitars, and I knew the right people. So they started asking me about building guitars and stuff, different electronics and things. And what was really hilarious was the company that I'm working with right now happened totally by accident because I was consulting for a guitar effects company. And the guitar effects company had all their returns coming to Ontario, California. And so I said, well, there's a shop out there. I'll go check them out. So I went to the warehouse not knowing what they were all about. And it turned out that they were a guitar distributor. And you talk about a kid in a candy store, man. I just went, wow, guitars everywhere. Except they were the worst guitars I'd ever seen in my life. Every single one was horrible, unplayable, garbage, falling apart. And I said, well, your guitars are priced right, but they're so horrible, nobody could play them. He said, well, what can we do to fix it? So I told him, and I gave him all the specs and information. Next thing you know, they start bringing in great guitars. And then every time that I come up with a spec or something that I want, it shows up. So this guitar that I just got yesterday, in fact, like I was mentioning, it's the best of acoustic and the best of electric all in one guitar. And I thought it was amazing. So I brought it to lunch today, like I was mentioning with all these industry professionals. And they all said, wow, this thing is amazing. And some of them knew that it compares to the Taylor T5, which is $3,000. And they're blown away because this thing's so much better at only $300. It's like, yeesh, yeah. So they're pretty excited about that. And the other thing too is that these guitars are only $400 on Amazon. $300 my price, my cost.
I was gonna ask as a joke, can I buy it off Amazon?
Yeah. So if you buy it off Amazon, it's $400, but if you buy it off me, it's $300.
What's the brand?
Goldzilla, which is really stupid.
Goldzilla.
Gossilla, Goldzilla.
Goldzilla. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So the guy that just logged in, Gunnar Larson, he played it, and he played it for quite a while. I don't know, Gunnar, if you're able to listen or comment. Yeah, but he played it for a while. He really liked it. So yeah, he's another guy that's in the industry, and he's done a lot of stuff.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, there you are. Hey, Gunnar. Good to see you, man.
Hey, how are you?
Doing all right.
Sorry, I was
Yeah.
working on some music.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, man, I didn't even ask you how much it was. I'm blown away. It's $300, man. I yeah, I'm I'm gonna hit you up as soon as I have my credit card bills paid down. That's
Sure.
amazing.
It
That's
is
very,
amazing.
very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool instrument. I liked it a lot.
So, Gunnar, what kind of stuff are you doing right now?
Right now I'm working on well, I'm putting a little reel together. I had a meeting with a singer yesterday, and she's interested to record vocals with me, and she wanted to hear some examples. So I'm just going through the latest vocal recording I did here, and I'm putting together a few outtakes, like just the whole track and then just the vocal solo without any effects or any treatment, so that she gets an idea what it sounds like to record with me here at my studio.
What kind of microphones do you prefer for most vocal recording?
That really totally depends on the singer. You know the old Michael Jackson story, and
Yep.
of course I have an SM7 also in the arsenal, but I have an 80s. Well, that was pretty much for the longest time, that was my vocal mic of choice. It's an 87 that has been converted to a tube microphone by a guy named Stain. He makes these conversions. His company is called Inner Tube Audio. I don't know if you heard about it, but I really highly recommend that. At some point, I got a Flea 47. I don't know if you heard about Lewitt microphones. They are quite a bargain for what they can do. I have one that actually you can dial from a FET to a tube seamlessly. So if you have a singer and he might be a little bit on the fuzzy side, you can, but he also has some harshness, maybe. I wouldn't say harshness, but you know what I'm talking about. There's some elements, some frequencies in his voice that poke a little bit. So then you can just dial it somewhere in between a FET and a tube and find the sweet spot. And you just go with your judgment, with your ears right now. That's a very cool microphone. But what Stain just sent me as yeah, it's one of the first ones he's actually made, and we were sorting out a few little things still over the phone. So I had to get my soldering iron out. It's amazing. There's a microphone, and that's a very unknown but extremely highly sought after microphone, and that's the Neumann M269. Probably, have you heard about that one yet?
I've heard of it, but I haven't heard one yet.
Okay, yeah. You can find them. Sometimes they are popping up on Reverb and they're like 20 grand or something ridiculous like that. But the story of this microphone was that Neumann made the U67 as a predecessor of the U47. So they brought it to the German broadcasting stations, and they rejected the 67 because they were used to the quality of the 47. They appreciated the more modern approach, but they said like, well, that's not the quality that we can accept. So Neumann kind of like, they had already started marketing it. So that's why there are a lot of U67s, but they kind of like sat back on their behind and worked this microphone over and came out with a kind of similar but very different microphone, which they then dubbed the M269. And that got the approval of the German broadcasters. And they made about 1,500 of these. So they're pretty rare. And like I say, in a good condition, they're very expensive. So Stain kind of like had this point where somebody said like, oh no, rather than a U87 converted to a tube mic, I'd rather take a U67. And I owned a U67, one of the replica ones.
Oh yeah.
After I had the converted one, and I sold this again because the converted one totally shut out the genuine U67.
Wow.
So and now because of this kind of like incidents, they said like, well, I'm gonna make a M269, which he did, and it sounds incredible. I mean, I put up the Flea 47 next to it, and it's just like two completely different things. You wouldn't think that you ever think like a very high grade U47 replica to appear kind of like more on the, yeah, I can't even take negative words because it's such a great microphone. But compared to the one that Stain just did, it's just I totally go with Stain's version, you know. And if you ever happen to shoot those out, his microphone is not as high in the output as a normal microphone. That's the nature of it. So in order to be fair, you always have to kind of like level match them. But if you do that, it's pretty amazing. It's really incredible. I mean, for the first time actually ever, my acoustic guitar that I played into it sounded really like I hear it when I play it. And it just was wow, that's really how I hear my guitar. It's right there. So he has just made 10 of those, but he's buying new parts and he's gonna make more of them. And I can just say like that thing is incredible, really incredible.
So those are made in Germany?
No, what happens is you have to buy a Neumann, and it's a TLM 67, and you can get those used for about like 2.5 grand, something like that. And then you throw out the TLM circuit completely. You just take the whole circuit out and replace it with that circuit that he makes, and pop that in basically. And then you have to have a power supply and a special cable for it. It's no, but yeah, the basis, the capsule, that's the TLM 67, and that's the best platform for this modification.
Cool.
But it's yeah, you need a TLM 67, but like I say, they can be had for not so much money. If you wait a little bit, check reverb, and then after a while you'll find one that is in a good shape and at a good price. So at least that's the route that I went. I didn't want to buy a new one, knowing that I'm gonna replace the electronics anyway, and it's mostly the capsule that I'm after there.
Cool. Yeah, at the Audio Lunch, there's a lot of really cool people there. You're familiar with Royer microphones, so yeah, David Royer's, and then Dusty Wakeman from Mojave's there quite a bit too. So yeah.
All right, yeah.
So you get to meet all these guys and make that happen. It'll be fun. And then, did you meet Tom Hilby? I don't think you know Tom Hilby yet.
No, I unfortunately did not. No.
Yeah, so Tom Hilby is another guy. He's an interesting character, and he's getting all these knockoffs made in China that sound really good too. So, okay, well,
I
anyway.
was there for the first time, and it's a really great place. I really enjoyed it, and I'm a bit far away. I'm on the west side, but I will come again for sure.
Oh yeah, no, you're out near Santa Monica. I'm on the other side in Alhambra, so it's about the same distance really for me to get out there. But it's just well worth it. You're hanging out with legends, right? So
right.
So anyway, and what kind of questions did you have, or any comments or anything, or?
I mean, I think just generally, like, you guys covered a lot of things, but maybe questions around what videos, what kind of content might have surprisingly hit for you guys as you're trying to connect with an audience. I was looking around at some of these links and saw that Emmanuel also had a good following on Reverb Nation. I've never really invested too much time there, but yeah, I was curious to like how that, if that was more like organic through the Reverb Nation site, or if that was kind of like social media directing towards it.
Yeah, Emmanuel, you there? You want to answer that one?
Yeah, I'm here. Reverb Nation is one of the better sites for artists putting up music. You get your own site. Of course, they have a lot of services that you can buy. They connect you with other artists. They connect you with industry experts. They will help you get into streaming. So it's a pretty decent site. You can get a page for free, but of course they want to reel you in, and then maybe that's the wrong word, but they want to pull you in and buy some additional services. And some of the services that they do that they provide are actually pretty good. There's song reviews, there's a crowd review, so you can put up a song and you can get 25, 50, 100 people, depending on price that you can afford. and get good feedback on it. And I think that the feedback is actually good. So I think it's a good platform for a lot of different services for artists.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of their emails. It definitely came off salesy, so I just sort of stayed away. But yeah, no, great advice to check that out.
Sure.
Yeah, it's always important to understand your own demographic. As I mentioned, since I'm an older guy, I pretty much only put up my videos now for archiving. Yeah, last few years I've lost a lot of friends, and um, several of them were great songwriters. One of them in particular was, well, actually, two of them were very prolific, very good friends of mine with over 1,000 songs in their catalog or in their notebooks. And that was the problem because one of them died in a automobile accident in an RV. The RV caught fire and he died, but also his notebooks full of his songs also burned up. So that's that. That's all done. Another friend of mine passed away, and all of his notebooks had lyrics in them. Some of them had chord charts, but most of them were just lyrics. And so when he passed away, I think 6 out of 1,000 were recorded, and that was it. And I thought, wow, some of those songs were really, really powerful. And he played a couple of them for me that I know he never recorded. And unfortunately, I don't remember them well enough to cover them. But it's kind of sad. So that's why I said, well, I'm going to do this myself. And that's the reason why I'm doing what I do. Every Monday at Kulaks for $20, get that thing archived, and it helps.
Yeah.
But I've also seen, like when I was, chasing the dollar, as it were, one of the biggest followings that I got had nothing to do with music. And again, it's all about, again, your community. I used to have a 71 VW bus. And that VW bus, no matter where you drive a VW bus, everybody wants to know, right? People actually followed me into shopping, grocery stores just to check out the bus. And so one time I went to a little thing that was going on with a VW swap meet, and all these VW guys were checking out my bus. I was checking out their VWs. One of the guys had a guitar, so I started playing. Hey, dude, you're a musician. Well, that's cool, man. Well, yeah, in fact, I'm playing it. Oh, well, hey, man, we'll come check you out. So all of a sudden, that following weekend, I had 16 guys that I'd never seen before as my fans following me around. And then that grew and that grew and that grew. And then I had a band. And then one time when my band played, we played at uh, it was like what do you call a fundraiser thing? It was like a car show and fundraiser that had not only the VW guys but some lowriders and stuff too, and they loved us. And again, we got even more of a following from that, but it had nothing to do with the music, and our music had nothing to do with cars. But because we were part of that community, that made all the difference in the world. So same for you. Oddly enough, one of the things that I thought would be good is the Asian American community. Asian American community has, shall I say, no loyalty. I go there and they tell me how wonderful things are and all that. I ask them to come to my shows. Yeah, sure, I'll come. Nobody shows up. So I'm a little disappointed in that because you never know. I don't know why they don't show up. I'm Asian American. I would figure they would come because of that, but no. The Asian American community has assimilated to the point now where people my age, if they're still ambulatory, shall we say, they still don't want to come out because it has nothing to do with them. But if one of the old retired guys from Earth, Wind, and Fire just shows up without even singing, hey, they're all there. It's sad. So,
Yeah, I think I can resonate. I mean, and it's also refreshing that you're leading these things because obviously, like being Asian as well. I think it's hard to come by Asian Americans in general that do rock music, especially. And so I think when I was first starting out and of course, like back at home, I'm from New Jersey. My whole community was Korean, but like I knew that if they were giving me any kind of accolade, it was like because they were my friend. But as a listener, they're definitely more prone to like pop, right? Or like hip hop or K-pop. So I think that was a big disconnect for me. Um, but yeah, it is harder to find people in that way, even in LA, I think. So I hear you on that one.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I started off in the Christian music industry.
Mhm.
Christian music, there was a very hard thing. A lot of you guys that have been here know this. um, I had a band that was opening for all the major Christian artists back in the 70s. And every single one of them said, Jimmy, your band is pretty good. You should check out our label. And I did. I checked out every single Christian label. Always got a first meeting based on the music, but never a second meeting. And I wondered why. And then one of my friends pulled me aside, Jimmy, look at this, man. You got white contemporary Christian, you got black gospel. So what are you? And I thought about it. I says, well, gee, there's no Latinos either. I says, that's right. Now name me one black contemporary Christian artist or one white gospel artist. There's no crossover either. That's right. The Christian community is black and white, and you're not either one, so they don't see the dollar signs. You don't belong. And when I saw that and I realized that, I got pissed off enough to start an Asian American Christian label.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And that worked out really well.
Kenji
But
is
then
here, by the
another-
way, Jimmy.
Yeah, I saw Kenji here.
Okay, okay.
Unfortunately, then another thing happened. I was running it and things were going very well, but again, I had all those other things. When I had SongNet, I had my guitar shop, and I was about to move into getting something going on with Tascam so I could afford to live. And so I passed the reins to another person. And when I passed the reins to her and she started working with it, all of a sudden my band wasn't getting called to participate. And I said, hey, how come we haven't played any of the shows and stuff that you guys are putting on? And then her reply was, we wanted to make room for the new artists. In other words, I aged out of my own label. So it's like, wow, that's kind of what happens. But again, it's the industry. When you look at the industry and how things work, it's really not necessarily about the talent. It's not necessarily about the music or anything else. It's always about the money. Back when I got that harsh reality check about Christian music, my same friend pointed out the biggest building in Nashville at that time, the biggest building was Word Records, Christian label. That's where all the money was. And I thought about this. Yeah, it's really all about the money. So we're living in an age now where it's not necessarily all about the money, but instead it's about making things happen and bringing value to the music in a totally different way. Not necessarily monetization, but making it something that is so real that it hits you in a different place. And that value that changes the world is far more than anything you get with the monetization of it. So that's what it is. So Kenji, welcome. Glad you made it over here. How's your seminar workshop thing?
It was not a seminar. It was the record company's startup event, press conference, and reception. So I couldn't stay for the reception.
I'm sorry.
Probably they're eating. That's fine. Yeah, but hey, it's a company. It's the headquarters is in Japan. The record company called Pony Canyon. Pony Canyon is huge in anime music and game music, as well as, of course, the recording artist. And they just launched Pony Canyon USA. And I believe, I hope, they're gonna put the money on the international artists in many genre. So you guys may wanna check it out. They just got started. They may have a position and I believe, I hope they will have a record contract. What? What?
Well,
Yeah, but I don't know. I can't guarantee. But this seems like, at least they're gonna try very, very hard for the next 4 to 5 years.
so are they looking for songs or more?
Yep, they're looking for contents, not only the music, but the video contents, artists, influencer, VTubers, you know. So if you guys are interested, then there might be a good chance.
Okay. Can we put your contact information on the side there in the chat so that people can see that?
Yeah. What? Okay.
Just your email address. That's Yeah.
It's easy. It's a mix Kenji
Yeah. mixkenji@gmail.
Gmail. Yeah. Let me put that just in case. Mix Kenji gmail.com. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And then we also have Randall Rivera. Randy.
Hello there.
Hello.
You hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. There you are.
Great. Well,
Good to see you.
Yeah. Well, gosh, you get to see my room.
No, that's okay.
I can change the lighting a little bit.
Much neater than my place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you blurred you got
Yeah,
blurred
that's
out.
that's
There's
the
a
whole
reason
purpose.
why there's a blur behind me.
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't prepare for this.
No, that's okay.
Okay, that's a little. Oh, now I'm washed out. Okay, well, that's not.
Absolutely.
Oh well, anyway. That's
All right. Okay, so we can get into some listing. If you guys have any more questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm turning over to Steve for the listing side. So Kenji, tell us a little bit about what you do and what you're looking for and what you're going to be peaking on.
First of all, I'm a record producer, mixer, engineer. I started off being a recording engineer and mixer, and then kind of shifting to producing or adding producer's function to my career. And today, I would like to listen to your tracks, then give you my insights from music production point of view, not the marketing, not the money stuff like Jimmy does. Yeah, more to mixing and mastering or music production side. So if you're interested in,
Good.
yeah. And Jimmy, are you playing music yourself or no? I mean the track. Where the track is coming from?
So Steve has
Steve,
all the
okay.
tracks. Yeah. What we did was we put the word out so that people could email in an MP3. And then Steve has all those along with lyric sheets if you want to see lyric sheets also.
Okay. And as I emailed you guys, I emailed my track
Yes.
as a not
Reference.
masterpiece. It's not as a masterpiece, but as the frame of reference myself
Right.
in terms of like a loudness, clarity, like things like that.
Yeah, it's a
So
benchmark standard. Yeah.
Well, I'll,
yeah,
I'll play
and
that one. I'll play that one first.
yeah, and once you played, my track, I'm gonna set the listening level fixed,
Right.
so
Right.
that if you hear something much louder than my track, your track sounds much louder than my track. That means probably
Too loud.
loudness is a little bit too much, and on the other hand, if it's too quiet, you might need a little bit of mastering thing. So anyway, like that. So anything like that. Okay. So Steve, can you?
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, just for like 30-second, 1 minute, something like that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. So first up, we have Dave Clausen, and this is a song called "Beyond the Veil."
Okay.
When I close my eyes, I see your face. A moment of time can never erase. Yet here I stand, all alone, with only these memories since you've been gone. I know that I must leave it all behind, even though you're always on my mind. I call your name, but my words fail. You're in my heart beyond the veil. I sink into your chair, fall apart at the seams, wishing this embrace could bring me more than dreams. But there is nothing I can undo. I still have your armchair, but time took you. I know that.
Was that right? You wanted to cut it there? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Well, sounds good. Sounds good, and the level is good, at least to start with. The from the production point of view, I believe this is a drum machine.
It's a friend playing drums, but he has a Roland V drums.
Oh, okay. So it's not the drum machine. It's a sample, but they play by a person.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So then hi-hat. I don't hear hi-hat.
Yeah.
And with this instrumentation, hi-hat will make a groove and make a kind of a driving continuity, and that's what I'm missing. That's what I noticed in 10 seconds, and I was kind of looking for either hi-hat or some the groove factor comes in, but they didn't. So so hi-hat, I didn't hear the hi-hat, and then so without hi-hat, you can make it hi-hat very quiet or even no hi-hat. But if that's the case, you want to make the bass line interesting. Bass line is a little bit too simple because that's what you hear. So hi-hat and the bass, I didn't hear the hi-hat, and baseline is quite simple. I would say too simple, so that there's no groove on the track. So I would like to hear more groove going on, even without the lead vocal.
Okay.
Because the songwriting is good. I like the song, by the way, and the vocal performance. I like the vocal performance in the choruses. Verse, you might want to, define the line. Yes, it's not quality of vocal performance. It's probably not defined the vocal line yet.
Okay.
Did you write on the paper, or did you write on the score chart?
No, just words and chords. So
Yeah. If you put the melody line on the chart, so that you know exactly what the note you're singing, then practice it and follow the chart, and the lead vocal will be much better.
Okay.
And when you hear the lead vocal much better, everything is much better. Sounds much better, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little detail though, but sounds like the mix sounded like a mono, not stereo, because everything right in the middle. And I don't know if this is because of the zoom or because of the way it's mixed.
Yeah, let me ask, Steven, did you set Zoom on to stereo?
Well,
I did. I
my
did, actually.
my mix sounded stereo.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's my arrangement. The drums, all I have is a stereo drum track, whatever he gave me. And the hi-hat is my fault. I like the hi-hat, but the cymbal ride he was doing on the chorus was like way too much. So I pulled those frequencies out in the chorus, and I didn't bring the hi-hat back in the verse.
Mm.
And yeah, so the drums are wherever they are, bass is down the center, vocals down the center, guitar is stereo. So that's the only thing that's stereo. Yeah.
Oh, the guitar stereo. Okay.
Yeah, guitar was panned hard left and hard right.
Okay.
But it was the hops effect where I copied the track and gave it like a 40-second millisecond delay.
You can be brave to put the guitar on one side and the hi-hat on the other side or something like that. Or if, for this kind of genre, you can put the guitar on one side, a little off the center, and put some percussion, shaker, conga, bongo, whatever. That would make more, interesting, I think.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's, good track. I like it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, we have Emmanuel Lawrence, and this is called Pulling Me Up. Let me share my screen. I'm going to also check to make sure we really are on stereo. We should be. Let's see here. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, it's on stereo, as you can see. So, here we go.
I met an older couple on the street today, still in love, they spoke in tender ways. The man stumbled, wife caught him from behind. He told me I ain't proud and I don't mind. She keep pulling me up, make me wanna be a better man. She keep on pulling me up, and I won't turn away her in the park today. The girl tripped and fell as she went to play. Mother picked her up and whispered soothing words. Mother said, be careful, but love was all she heard. She keep pulling me up. My mother cares for me in every way. She keep pulling me up. I need a loving kindness every day. Pulling me up to higher ground. You won't let nobody pull
Thank you.
me down. Keep on pulling me.
Okay, there we go.
All right. Thank you. So as far as the production goes, it's still not completed. I would say, if you want to add something and keep this vibe, I would put some like a string quartet or something like, some interesting part with a harmony and the rhythm, because it's pretty simple. And again, the melody line in, I don't know, it's like a B section or D section. Some part of the song, the melody lines are not defined well enough. Do you have a chart? Did you write the melody line on the chart?
I don't have a chart. I haven't written out the chords or anything. This is a scratch track, and it is in production right now.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah. And it's, did you play with a click?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I know, some people want to keep like a human feeling to it, but the track with a keyboard or two parts keyboard or only one, may want to quantize it, because again, this is not the complete track at all. So yeah, I would like to hear a more defined melody line so that I can say something more.
Understand.
Yeah. Interesting entrance though.
Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, thank you.
One of the things that I noticed was your chorus was very much the same melodic structure and line as I think it's Bee Gees. I'm just a woman in love or something. I'm just not Bee Gees. Who's that? I'm just a woman in love. Da, 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 da. Or well, no, it's not woman in love. It's I forgot. But I recognize that line.
I think it's Bee Gees too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing that you can consider, even though at first you think, well, it sounds like that's too bad, but no, it's not, because that's a reference point that you can go to, see how they produced that particular part and how you might be able to work with that and apply it to yours so that it sounds similar but not the same.
Good point. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Next up, we have Ed Lackey, and this is called Back Road 55. Let's see.
I'm walking there'll be no hesitating. Been gone a long time. This would be no lie. I hope she made a pie. Lord, you know I love her fine. On the back road looking at the trees, there are things I think I see. There's nothing like this anywhere. Things I don't like, I don't care. I know she's there waiting. There'll be no hesitating. Been gone a long time. This would be no lie. I hope she made a pie. Lord, you know I love her fine. The wind is blowing through my hair. There are things I just don't care. Down the back road I'm walking. In my head I hear her talking. Soon I'll be there. I know she's there waiting. There'll be no hesitating. Been
All right. Good. I like this kind of genre anyway. So from a mixing point of view, the track sounds warm and natural, and the vocal sounds, relatively speaking, the vocal needs to get warmed up a little bit. In other words, sounds a little bit too harsh for me. And that sounds like the track and the vocal the vocal are in the different space, different dimension, or different, almost like maybe it is you put the vocal track after you mix the backtrack.
You're
And
absolutely right.
yeah, if you do that, this happens because the arrangement, performance, they're all pretty good. Yes, you guys all heard, much worse than this, and this is actually, the instrumentation and the players, and including the lead vocal, the performance is like pretty good. And if you can get all the tracks separately, as multi-track, you can make a much better mix. And the track mix doesn't sound interesting. That's not because of the performance. That's because the balance. Because section by section, you would like to, or I would like to differentiate one section to the other, even the instrumentation is the same, so that it makes more, interesting, not the too much, repetition, too much, one color. But you can do that. That's what the mixing comes in. Even if you have a one band, a 5-piece band, 6-piece, or even a trio with a vocal, you can slightly change the balance between like a verse and the bridge and the choruses to make it more interesting. And what you needed to do to make it happen is you need to find which instrument gets featured in the certain section. So yeah, recordings. I think the recording's good, and instrumentation is good. I mean, arrangement is good. Maybe just a mix. Yeah, I like that. And it's a drum machine again.
No,
Okay, this is the real. Okay, so if you can mix much better this. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, take your time. Take your time, and take your time. Get the track. Take your time.
well, that was very introspective, and I like the criticism real well.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Next up, we have Pierre Engelbert, and this song is called Alumni Weekend. Let's see here. Share my screen.
The year she graduated, the US of A by and large invaded the whole wide Middle East. While she partied like a beast. 20 years on, she's coming home. The trees are grown, all Jim is gone. The class of '03 congregate. They're in the mood to celebrate. Ha ha, the school is prepped, the mascots out, the grounds are kept. The president talks, the same old crowd. They're all half drunk before it's darkened. Ha ha, the stage is set, only relations. One day check, a random professor gives a talk. They would all try to take a walk on. It's alumni weekend when we all pretend we just turned in our senior thesis, my friend. Your life just hasn't started yet, but you're already deep in debt, and you party like the dean of students is dead. Back home, a 12-year-old, a second grader, man gone bald. The husband she still cares about takes her for granted, there's no doubt. Over here, fairy dust, nostalgia with a whiff of lust. Alma mater, look away. Trouble's there at the buffet. Oh, the stage is set. She knows that man, or she would bet. The sweetest of things from sophomore year, a sex-held roommate's nightmare. He's by the shrimp. She makes a move, she's not a wimp. Remember me, of course he does. They dance together, got their buzzed. And they walk back hand in hand. What they're up to, they understand. The double trees just up the hill, and though the ground is wobbly, her mind is clear. She's got free will despite the beer, and as a pretty summer dress falls to the floor in the twirling darkness of room 304. She's a 19-year-old English sophomore in the arms of a drunken junior. It's alumni weekend when we all pretend we just turned in our last final, my friend. No Title IX repression of our sexual ambitions, and what happens on the quad stays there. It's alumni weekend when we all pretend we just turned in our last final, my
Okay. Nice track. I like it. It's enjoyable, and it's a little, Beatle-ish,
I'll take that.
Beatle-ish, or the late 60s to early 70s. Then I like it, and but you need to hire the Ringo Starr to play on it.
I'm sorry, what?
You need to hire a Ringo Starr to play. Yeah. So this is again a drum machine that I can tell. Um, it needs a human feeling, unless you are looking for very more of a 80s style, because it's like a 80s drum machine on you know golden 60s, early 70s production or songwriting. And because the vibe I got from this track is more kind of loose, for good, not so tight, the loose, and it needs a little, maybe just a hair of shuffleness.
Shuffleness?
Yeah, the Ringo does, when he plays the drums, he adds
Oh
just
yeah.
a little bit of shuffleness that makes more little, the bouncing kind of.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And if I were asked to produce, I would put the interesting background vocal part. Yeah.
You mean
Again,
push up the background?
yeah, background part. Interesting, kind of complicated, not too complicated, but simple but effective, and work with the lead melody line. Again, it'll become like Beatles, but it's okay. If
I can live with that.
yeah, exactly. If people think, hey, this is the kind of Beatles-ish, hey, but it's cool. You know, uh, the producer guy named by O'Brien. John O'Brien. I worked with him on Amy Mann's album back in the 90s. Amy Mann is the band called Till Tuesday, if you guys remember. It's a very cool, quirky artist. But uh, John O'Brien, I think John O'Brien. John O'Brien. He loved the Paul McCartney's production, and he really analyzes and the research what the Beatles did, and so he extracted all the essence he likes from Beatles and put in his production, and he's a well respected, well known, and a producer, and I really enjoy working with him. So
Thank you.
that's my 2 cents, maybe 3 cents.
Definitely, at least. Thank you. And I apologize for showing up so late. I had to go out, do something with my wife, and I'm so grateful that I just arrived and then you guys were kind enough to play mine, but I apologize for missing other stuff so far.
I came late too, so.
Yeah, no, that was fine. And yeah, like to clarify a little bit what he's talking about, in Penny Lane, for example, those background vocals come in, but they're like counterpoint melodies and
Okay.
are coming in Penny Lane. And also along the same lines in Penny Lane, you've got background sounds that make Penny, like the fireman's bell running and all that other stuff, And again, Alumni Weekend, Breaking Glass obviously is,
Okay.
that would be the kind of a thing. Use that as a percussion thing where, it's like dun, dun, shatter, da, 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 and then
Okay. Yeah, thank you. That's a great idea. Yeah.
yeah. So that makes a big difference because that puts you in that place of, some crazy school reunion like I'm about to go to. So anyway,
Jimmy, did you ever hear a song called "America Drinks and Goes Home" by Frank Zappa? that has that kind of background noise to it with the clinking, breaking glass and all that stuff.
All right.
You know what happened is that I'm a professor at Pomona College and I served a term as an associate dean. And last year I helped work the alumni weekend. And so I was there, like, running around the whole weekend. And one of the alumni from the class of 2003, she told me, last night at the hotel, there was a lot of hooking up going on. I'm like, okay, I got a song here.
Yeah. Inspiration, yes.
Anyway, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is my own. I'm Stephen GC. This is called Mystery. And
Oh, sounds perfect. Perfect. Next.
Okay, let's see.
Quirky, funny lady with the short blonde hair. Mischief in a smile, but a straight-laced stare. Keep your eyes open if she's walking your way. What is she gonna do next? She's a mystery. How does she look so good? She's a mystery. How does she look? How does she look so good? How does she look? How does she look so good? If she comes to see you, choose your words with care. Maybe you can ask if you can touch that hair. She may even say yes, but follow with a tease. What is she gonna do next? She's a mystery. How does she look so good? She's a mystery. How does she look? How does she look so good? How does she look? How does she look so good? From the outside she flows with magic, a mystery for you to solve. Something keeps you wanting more of her. She's a mystery. How does she look so good? She's a mystery. How does she look? How does she look so good? How does she look? How does she look so good?
Okay. Hey, I told you. Next, no. It's a great production. Okay, let's start from a mixing point of view. Mixing's good, interesting. I like the effects on the vocal here and there. Some delays and the stuff. I like it, and little bit of bass or a bottom shy. So you may be monitoring quite loud or with a headphone or whatever it is. You may be hearing your mix, or while you're mixing, the bass loud, because it's gonna be a reflection of it. And
Okay.
so with that being said, it's totally correctable, fixable on mastering. So you need to bump up a little, define the bass and bump up the bass. It'll make the mix, much bigger and fuller. And I call it more expensive.
Okay.
Yes. And the one thing is the melody line in the verse is verse and maybe this is a B verse. Well, anyway, rhythmically speaking, it's a little, bit kind of repetition happening. And the first time, fine, but when you hear second time, you may hear again. So to avoid that kind of the hint of the boringness, you might want to, let's say, add even very simple harmony vocal on the second verse or second time.
Okay.
Yes. So it's the same melody line but different feeling, different or new elements. So make it more interesting.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I like it.
Thanks for the feedback. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Next we have, there's three people who sent in something, but they didn't show up for whatever reason.
Okay.
But Jimmy said we should play them because I guess he knows everybody. So
also they might show up on YouTube, later
yeah,
on.
they might They may show up on YouTube. So
are we on a YouTube live?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me find out.
It's a SongNet space LA. If you search for that on YouTube. Yeah, but it's obviously it's a delay, and you're going to get an echo if you bring it up. Yeah, right.
Yes, just cut the.
Yeah.
And you didn't send anything in?
Oh, I did.
Oh.
But it's probably under Violet Whimsy. I think you're going alphabetically.
Oh, yes. No, you're right. It is under Violet Whimsy. I do have it then. Okay. You're
All
right.
right. Just for your information, YouTube.
Yep.
One person is listening.
Okay.
And I don't know who.
Yeah, usually people go to it the day afterwards and they start hitting it because they weren't able to make it for some reason.
Right. Okay.
All right. I stand corrected. Violet, I don't know how I missed that. Anyway, this is from Violet. It's called Loving You. And let me see. I just want to make sure I got the. Okay, here we go.
And I know you don't wanna hear it, you'd rather
Sounds good. So, and no one's here?
Oh, no, she is here. Yes.
Oh, okay. Did you sing?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Sounds great. So Sheryl Crow, right?
I've gotten that before.
Yeah. And my guess is this is produced by a guitarist.
Yeah, he's a multi-instrumentalist.
Okay. Yeah, because the guitar part uh kind of stands out, and the lead guitar sounds great.
Mhm.
I mean, sonically, and so it's like he knows, what to do with the guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah. But on the other hand, I may go back and forth, but the mix sounds not mono, very everything is in the middle, and which is not necessarily bad, but you can put the one guitar on one side and one guitar the other side and make it so-called panorama image or a spatial um, image. And I worked on the Tom Petty's Wildflowers. That check that album. It'll be great example for this production. Yeah.
Tom Petty's my favorite artist, so
Tom
yeah.
Petty?
Yeah, he's my favorite
Oh,
artist.
so is mine, and so was mine, and since the 70s, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I yeah, I'm from Japan, and in the 70s, the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers came to Japan. I believe that was first Japan tour, and I went there, and it sounded great. That was right after doing the Torpedo album. That was the fourth one, I think fourth album. No, third album. One, two, yeah, third album. Anyway, and yeah, it's great. And oh, by the way, great songwriting.
Thank you.
I know it sounds a little petty-ish or crowish, but good song is a good song. You know, uh, you know, uh, what's is it drum machine?
No, it's actually a drummer. He's like
Okay,
a metal guy. Yeah, so it's pretty
and
loud.
that it's the same guy as the guitarist?
No.
No, okay. Um, drum pattern
Mhm.
that that something like that. No, yeah, that's
Yeah.
something like that. Anyway, I believe that was a um drum pattern
Mhm.
that to me doesn't work on this
Okay.
song. Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be simple 8-beat,
Mhm.
but the snare hit, it has, I believe it has like a consecutive eighth note, like a
Mhm.
that that something like that. Doesn't sound cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, even if you put the that snare, the last snare, 16th note later, or even take the second snare out to make it, or even just that's it. Simple. You know, uh, you know, Steve Ferroni, you know, uh, he's a great drummer, but great drummer who can play eighth note. I mean, eighth beat. 8-beat is not easy to play. And get the groove to it. Yeah, drum pattern and a drum performance sounds like a drum machine.
Mhm.
Yes. The rest sounds great. yeah, a little bit bass shy, but the believe me, the bottom, low end, the bass, it's to manage the bottom, manage the bass is always difficult, always not easy for everyone, even for professional. There are so many, way boomy uh, mixes and way, bass shy mixes because of, how they are listened to. Because I do, besides mixing, recording and mixing, I do mastering too. So I get mix like that, bass shy or too much bass, but always it's not easy to control. But anyway, yeah, you can push some bass. And was there or is there a middle eight section like a bridge, big bridge? Okay, that big bridge can be more interesting. It's if you put the middle eight, it's gonna be middle eight. Middle eight we call the middle eight or a bridge. Uh, it's kind of connect. How can I say? It's got to be connected to the major part of the song, but it can stand out. That's a middle and kind of stop the it changed the vibe or change the landscape, change the feeling or something. Like you eat dessert middle of the meal. You don't wait until you don't wait dessert until the end of the meal, but maybe after the second dish, before main dish, you have the dessert. That's the middle eight. Yeah, and you don't have a New York steak for dessert, right? Because main dish is New York steak. So, but hey, good production. I like it. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, this is
I have a quick question before the next one.
Sure.
So a couple of times you mentioned the drums. So here's my question. I like, probably other people are like me. I have a tiny, tiny little home studio. I don't have a drum set. I can't play the drums. Do you recommend we find somebody to play the drums and get tracks from them? Or do you recommend we try the artificial drum and try to humanize them in some ways? What's the best way to answer to address this problem?
There are so many more multi-track drum loop so that you can mix but you can get like a 8-bar loop, 4-bar loop, or maybe 1 bar or 2 bars. But anyway, it's that way you are not put everything on the grid, but it's MIDI. Am I explaining okay? It's a
Yeah, so those are samples kind of, right?
It's a MIDI data. But it's a loop, or it's not only one pattern. It's like 8 bars.
Okay.
And it's not repetitive, but it's manageable. It's changeable, but it already has a groove.
I understand. Yeah, thank you. That makes sense. Thanks.
Like what I do is like in GarageBand, for example, you'll see that all the drum loops have a color on them. Like you have green loops and you have blue loops and everything else. And when you start overlaying them, if you're keeping it in the quantized mode, you'll see that they'll clip together in relationship to where the groove lands. So you can use like I use like 09 R&B drums, and then which is green, and then there's another 012 or 012 groove that is more of a has more of like a hat sound, and I'll just jam them together like this. And when you find the right spot, then all of a sudden it sounds like a drummer that's going, oh, hat.
Okay. All right.
And so it sounds a little bit different, but not so different that it defeats the groove. It maintains the groove, but it sounds like the drummer is doing something a little bit different in there. And by assembling these loops together that way, you're able to make it sound more like a real drummer would, you know.
Yeah.
Or if you assemble them wrong, then it sounds like your drummer's drunk, and it's even more cool sometimes. It just depends on how you're doing it.
Here's an
That
extra
helps.
tip. Yeah, here's an extra tip for you. Add some tambourine.
Tambourine.
Play the tambourine yourself. Putting just tambourine, you know, play by you or play by human, will put all the vibe into it.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, you can feature it, or you can put it like a, you know, slightly just so you can hear slightly as a we call the groove factor. That's a, you know, you can hear it, but you don't. But you feel it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And not just tambourine, you can even use like a cardboard box.
Oh, I'm sorry. You gotta put the cowbell.
Cowbell, more cowbell.
More cowbell. You got to, you know, more cowbell. Of course, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's, yeah. I forgot to tell you, everyone, you know, you gotta put the cowbell.
Okay, last song, last tune. All right, this is William Marcelo. Marcelo, sorry.
Okay, let's check out if he's got the cowbell.
Oh, okay, yeah. He couldn't make it apparently, so this is the only one who couldn't make it, so that's not so bad. This is called Baila Morena. Okay, so share my screen and.
Baile morena que baile, baile morena que baile, baile morena que baile, baile morenita que baile, baile morena que baile, baile morena que baile, baile morena que baile, baile morenita que baile. Sabemos todos, la vida es amarga sin sueños, sin amor. Busque lo importante, sigues adelante, no dejes de tratar. Vive tu vida al máximo, sigues adelante, no dejes de buscar, porque al final será tu propia creación. Baile morena
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Um, what is that the front part before the rhythm comes in? Um, well, maybe it's he or she will want to make it, rather
Shorter.
dramatic. Because if I were producing this, I would say, hey, take the front part out. That's more you can get more impact. Starting with the rhythm part right in. Yeah, and I was hoping that there would be a guitar solo, like a guitar solo.
Like a flamenco guitar, right?
Yes, yeah. I know it's very typical, it's a cliche, but hey, if you hear this kind of music, you gotta have one, and yeah, and again, the mix sound is mono. Probably this is mono. Maybe when they bounced mono, or they may mixed mono. Yeah. Um, Otherwise, after the rhythm comes in, this can be a great like a soundtrack. Yeah, any like a Latin, Hispanic, Espanol, movie, soundtrack, right, Jimmy?
Well, I think it would be really good for next month. Absolutely, because you could pitch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
The one thing that I noticed that really bothered me actually was the level was weird for one thing. Like you said, it's mono. It almost sounded like a second or third generation copy or something. Because
of cassette.
Yeah, the fidelity was just not happening. But what was even stranger to me anyway was the bass sounded like it was not in the same room as the rest of the recording. Did you feel that too?
Yeah. Yes.
Everything else had some reverb and delay on it, but the bass had nothing on it. It was like dry bass.
Right.
Very, very strange. And then the vocal was kind of like that too. But the vocal not only sounded that, but also it was EQ'd entirely differently. So it sounded like it was added on after the fact, almost like it was playing to a karaoke track.
Yeah, it's probably in general there are too many reverb and too much reverb on it in general.
Well, the female vocal had a lot of reverb, which was okay, and the guitar had a lot of.
I don't know if it's a reverb or it's like almost like too much room.
Yeah, very, very room, definitely.
It's if they record it in one room and all everyone is in the same room, but still it can be better.
Yeah, well, like we did Diana's thing, live, and I think it sounded 100 times better.
Yeah.
So, everything in one room, you can feel that energy, I think, and this did not have that energy. So,
and also, the bass stands out because bass was doing, kind of interesting, although it's a very typical bass line for this kind of music. But it's otherwise the guitars are like just strumming and nothing. There's no movement musically, so the bass could stand out because of that. Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing from Jimmy.
You've heard most of my stuff. Well, actually, I've got some stuff you had never heard, I'm sure. But yeah, I didn't submit anything this time. Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see, Randall, did you submit anything or?
No, I just you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. No, I just got the message on it and I thought I'd check it out,
Oh, great. Well, now you know what we're about.
Yeah. And that's cool. It's makes me, think about, I mean, I use Logic Pro and I usually do most of the stuff myself, but yeah, it's interesting. I can see you guys are really paying attention to a lot of details there, which is good.
Yeah, and we have different questions, different answers all the time, depending on what's going on and who our primary guest speaker is. When we have an attorney coming in, for example, usually every March, he talks about how things can work, and he can also talk about some of the issues with copyright infringement and placement and all that come up. So every time that we do these things, it's always just a little bit different, and there's always something new to learn. So I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you found us.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. But yeah,
Hey, we have still one person is watching on YouTube. Yay.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
It's my mother. Just kidding.
Oh, wait, that's me.
Right.
Oh,
Could be.
shit. I think so. Because it says, one watching, and probably that's me, right?
it
You
could
don't
be.
have
Yeah.
any comments. You don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey.
But it's nice to have them saved so we can look at them next time. It's really useful.
Go back over it and
Yeah.
see some comment you may have missed or something.
So,
Yeah.
any like a general question about the recording, mixing, mastering?
Just one very brief comment. Tom Petty was mentioned earlier, and ironically, I've been listening on Spotify to his, some of his greatest hits tracks and everything. That guy is an absolute master of the simple song, yet it's a good simple song.
Mhm.
I mean, there's so many songs he wrote that were just my hat's off to the guy. I mean, like I said, making something simple yet catchy and relatable is a that's genius in itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Like the free falling, simple like a hell.
Yeah.
All the repetition, but the way he sings, made magic.
Yeah. Now his lyrics are very interesting.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Anyway, but if you worked with him, that man must have been very interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, Kenji, since
Yes.
you opened it up for questions. I noticed, you wanted to play your song first to get levels. So when you mastered that, what was your target RMS level for that?
I have some standard which is published everywhere. If you Google like a loudness level or LFC or something like that, and it'll show you like a CD, Spotify, YouTube, what do you call YouTube Music, or Apple Music, and they're slightly different. And I have more than a few times, talked. I have a conversation with a mastering engineer more than a few times that how they set the level, and they say when you press a CD, then that's master, and okay, are you guys gonna change the mastering for the streaming? And they all say no. So my point is, I can actually access the. Let me see.
While you do that, I was taught that like when you're trying to master your own stuff to target it at -9 dB RMS, But then if you look at the LUFS, that's like way above, what streaming, -14.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a very, very accurate number. Yes.
So
Yeah.
the -9 dB RMS or the -14 LUFS? Because that's what Spotify uses is the -14 decibel LUFS, which is loudness, but RMS is overall.
I usually keep around -9, LUFS.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's good enough. And nowadays, I believe back then, like 10 years ago, they were squishing. If you submit way loud mix to let's say Spotify, they compress or limit. Nowadays, I believe they're using AI to change the level, average level, so that the original dynamics is intact. So if that's the case, you don't have to make different mastering. One mastering, and which is the CD is usually the loudest mastering. Yes, and even I believe Apple Music and Spotify too. There is a user configurable parameter that to set the level evenly or without it. So that's a kind of catch-22-ish problem because they set the level, but guys out there don't care. They make as loud as possible, right? And without that loudness level management engaged, you can hear louder mix, louder mastering, louder, quieter. And some artists or some people may think, the louder mix sounds better. So there's still loudness war, it's going on. But yeah, the kind of music genre I work is usually with live musicians, mostly. Jazz, blues, and sometimes country and pops, and soundtrack a lot. And so I don't have to push the level too much. And I want to keep the dynamics and the openness of the mix. Because if you push the level up and you can't, technically speaking, you can't push the level too much without limiting, without the compression. So you're losing kind of breathing, the track breathing, like this. So no air, no openness, but I want to keep the openness. So the answer is -9. It is.
Thank you.
Yeah, 9, 8. It's fine. Thank you.
On Logic Pro, they have if I'll take my mix and it sounds a little too low or something. After I've taken it to iTunes, right?
Mhm.
So I can pull the iTunes thing back into Logic Pro, and there's a little thing where they'll say normalize it. And the normalizing, you can put how many dBs you want it to be, and it basically just edits the whole song and will change the level on it. It seemed to work. It was fast, it's a fast way to change the volume level of the track without having to go back with all your 16 tracks and mess with compressing and all that, remixing and all that stuff.
Yeah, it always good to keep your mix on a certain level, certain loudness level, so that in case someone asks, hey, can I hear you mix? It's not too loud, it's not too quiet.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's make a good mix and push up a little bit up to minus 12, 11, 10, something like that. That's enough.
Oh.
Yeah. Unless you're doing a mastering, to get paid. It's a different thing. Yeah.
Well, it
Yeah.
seems to me like I listen to on iTunes, I'll listen to, a commercial cut and I'll listen to mine and I feel like mine are lower. I mean, the volume seems lower.
Mhm.
So I end up pushing it and pushing it. And then sometimes I push it too much and then I can hear distortion. And that's not good.
Right. The interesting thing is when your mix is well balanced musically as well as um, on the spectrum, frequency response too. You don't have to push too much. You don't have to push the level too much, but your mix sounds loud. That's something I'm always looking for when I mix. Without squishing, without compression, without the limiting, without the brick wall, thing. Then, but still, it's competitively loud. And if that's the case, if you master it and squish just tiny bit, like less than 4 or 5 dB, just cut the peak here and there, and mix doesn't sound change at all, but the sound gets mix gets a little bit louder, and but it's already comparably loud to the other track. So you spend so much time and money on your production, and so you want to keep it, the quality, you've been looking for till the very, very end. Yeah.
Is there any other than just messing around on your own and trying to figure it out? Is there any way that classes or anything like that you can take in engineering or mixing that are relatively affordable and actually work? Or do you think it's just
Yeah, there are tons on the YouTube.
Oh, on YouTube, that's true. Yes, I've seen a lot of them, really
check it out.
detailed.
Yeah.
Lots
And
of detail, yeah.
by the way, this, I know this is like I'm telling to like a teenager, but forgive me, but it works. I make a playlist on my on YouTube. I make quite a few playlists, like mastering, recording, guitar craft, and cooking, health, something like that. And it's all private. I'm not publishing it, but every time I see something interesting about mastering, I save the link.
Right.
Yeah, and time to time go back, and it's all there. So you don't lose. And once you watch it, and oh, this is bullshit, and just delete it. Yeah. Yes.
Last January, I signed up for a class at Berklee College of Music, and the class was called Mixing and Mastering with Logic. It did cost $1,500, so it's not cheap, but it taught me a lot. And I didn't do very well in the class, but I learned so much. And once you take that class, everything remains available online for a year. After that, you can go back to it. So I was hoping it would help me mix and master myself. Essentially, it gives you vocabulary and basic syntax, so you understand things. It doesn't make you quite able to do it, but at least if you use a mixing place, you can ask things more carefully. And anyway, it made me feel more intentional and have more agency about it, but still very much a beginner.
Yeah, and there are quite a few mixing engineers and the mastering engineers who do the who give you a private lesson.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, right now, one of the guys that comes to our lunch, Bobby Osinski, just did a whole workshop seminar thing online about that very thing, about mixing, mastering levels and things like that. So that was just published, and I think if you go to his page, so was it OWSINSKI, Bobby Osinski?
Yeah, BobbyOsinski.com.
Yeah, you'll find that that's exactly what he was just talking about. Some of the magic and stuff of all that.
And just for your information, I do too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I run my workshops as well as I do a private list.
So Kenji, did you put your website in the chat?
Your website.
Did you put your websites in the chat for us?
No. I'm in the middle of making one for the last 5 years.
Okay. Well, did you have a YouTube channel that you were referring to?
I'm thinking about it, and probably I'll start before the end of the year.
Okay.
Kenji, if you need a website, I do make websites.
Okay. Now we can talk the butter deal.
There you go.
Oh, we got a whole lot of things there.
So
And
Randall, let me just throw something Randall's way. So if you go to YouTube and then search for mastering.com, I know they charge for their courses. But they've got some free things on YouTube. Like there's a 10-hour video course on how to use compressors. And
oh my God.
9-hour video course on how to use equalization. And so, I mean, there's a lot there for free.
It's there's always that conflict about, should I spend my time being a better singer, better songwriter, better guitar? There's so many things to work on, right?
Yes.
There's that whole thing, and how much time do we have? But
it
is interesting.
Yeah, one of the things that I would suggest also is looking for a studio you can intern at, because when you're an intern, you don't get paid, but you're there. You learn directly from the masters, and sometimes you'll be able to get free studio time because you're there. So that's a very good thing.
Oh yeah.
And I'll just give you a quick tip, Randall. Mastering.com's philosophy is deselect the normalize button in Logic Pro. Do not use normalization. You compress it yourself or eliminate yourself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, normalization is just physically, search the peak and take the peak to the 0. So
right, yeah.
In a way, it doesn't change anything in terms of the transient and dynamics, but usually it's not enough if you want to bring up the level. You need, I would say, use a brick wall or like a L2 wave limiter, and get the I would say up to 6 dB on the peak. You don't hear the compression.
Yeah. Minus 6 dB, right?
Limiting it's up to 6 dB. Yeah.
It's a 6 dB below before it gets to 0 or the peak or whatever, where it goes into the red.
The level of meter goes up, and usually compression or limiting limiter goes down.
Yeah, right.
And so I'm talking about the one that goes down. It's only 6 dB at the peak.
Below the peak.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So you are actually taking the peak out so that you can bring main part of the song up a little bit.
Right. Now you do that to the whole mix, not just to each little instrument, right? Or do you do it to each instrument? Well, probably maybe with the vocal.
I do both if it's necessary, but what I'm talking about right now is the stereo bus.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
That's what happens in mastering. I know Stephen has to go, so Stephen, thank you very much for everything you were doing tonight. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you,
Oh, it's
Kenji. Thank you for coming out. You guys can keep going. I got to deal with something. Yeah. Okay.
oh,
Yes,
And
I'll
Jimmy's
still,
thank you so
Jimmy's the
much.
host.
Yeah.
Jimmy's the
I'll
host.
be the
So
host here for a little bit. So
yeah,
we
so
can
that's
keep on that.
yeah, so you can carry on if you like.
Yeah. And then
Sayonara.
Thank
Gunnar
you, Steve.
mentioned, yeah.
Steve, I loved your vocals.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
The harmonies were beautiful.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That
very
was all
smooth.
me. Yeah, all three
Very
of
high. I
them.
thought it was. I thought, who's that girl vocal? You know.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you got
No,
that
no.
Steve Winwood thing. Yeah, that Winwood thing is amazing.
Yeah,
Dude.
that was a good production. Yeah.
Was
Thank
that
you,
Ry
guys.
Randa or was that Travis?
That was right. That was Randa. Yeah.
That's what I thought. It sounded like a Rye thing. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
identify that now. So
He's in Arizona now. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. And
All
I see
right.
Pierre's leaving also. So thank you again, Pierre.
All right. So wrap up.
I
Yeah, I
guess
guess
we'll
we'll
say
just go ahead and wrap it up. So
Yeah.
once again, we do have our pitch night coming up August 7th. Make sure you come for that. We have our showcase coming up on, let's see, today's 3rd, so it'll be the 17th. Yeah, over at the farm. That'll be fun. We'll see you guys there. And there's always other stuff going on, all around town. So hopefully we'll see you. And Gunnar, thank you for coming. Gunnar, who is just, he got his picture there, but he's you don't see his face at the moment. I just met him at the audio lunch today, and he's been around in this industry for quite a while. I've recognized his name, so that was really, really good. And he's also an engineer, so he's another guy you can talk to. Thanks again,
There he
Gunnar.
is. There he
There he
is.
is. Hey, Gunnar. Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
Yep.
sorry, yeah, I had to step out for a moment.
No, that's
Sorry,
fine.
I missed
You heard-
it. I just heard my name.
Yeah, I know you heard a lot of that, so that's fine. And again, it's archived to YouTube, so you'll be seeing that. And yeah, Kenji missed a great guitar today, man.
Oh, okay. Shoot. Yeah, I couldn't get out today. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it?
It's something that I've been trying to bring over for a while. It's got the best electric and best acoustic sound all in one guitar. It's kind of like a Taylor T5, but even better.
Wow. So it's a pickup and a piezo together?
Yeah, humbuckers and piezo together.
Ah,
Yeah.
on what? Telly?
No, on a bigger guitar like a T5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the top is all resonant, so it sounds like a real guitar.
Mm,
Unlike a T5, which is, semi-hollow. This is full hollow.
sounds interesting.
So the acoustic sound is really good. Yeah.
Whatever you do makes everything sounds good on guitars.
Yeah, well, Gunnar got to play it, so
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
I was really blown away right now that you said it's only like $300.
it's $300.
What? That's crazy. I gotta hit you up. Like I said, when I've
Oh yeah.
paid
No,
my stuff down,
so we're
I gotta hit you up.
okay. So that's
All
what's
right.
going on, guys, and hopefully we'll see you guys around town.
All right.
There's no Jewel University.
And then you're doing this again next month?
We do this the first Wednesday every month online.
Oh.
Okay.
You just email songnetshowcase@gmail.com if you want to submit something to listen to, and or if you want to sign up for the showcase. The showcase is in Pasadena. It's at the Urban Homestead, which is a farm. And even if you don't play, a lot of guys will come just to hear what's going on because we have some great songwriters coming to that. And then, of course, we're at Kulak's Woodshed every Monday for the open mic. And I started doing something there called 2 for Tuesdays on the second Tuesday of every month. And I did it primarily for our people, but it wound up being so popular that everybody wants to be part of that now. So on second Tuesdays, if you want to check that out at Kulak's Woodshed, that's always fun. Or any Monday, there's the open mic, which is pretty amazing. And if you go to my YouTube page, that's where almost all the videos that I have up there are from. So you'll be able to see that.
Uh-huh.
So if you're in the LA area and you want to get some great video, $20 on a Monday night for that 9-camera HD shoot. It's the most ridiculous deal in town. So you got to do it. My blind friend just did that last Monday. In fact, it's kind of cool because he can't see the video, but he did a video because he knows how important it is to have good video in this town, and especially now with the internet. everybody wants to see video, even if he can't see it. People see him, and it's amazing. And he was really, really
good. Wow. All right. Well, good night, you guys.
Thank you, and thanks again, Kenji. Good night, and we'll see you again soon.
Great to see you guys, and I hope to see you guys soon again.
Oh yeah, and you got to see this guitar, Kenji.
Yeah, I got to. I have to. All
yeah.
right.
All right. Good night,
All right.
guys.
Good night,
Enjoy
guys.
the evening.